stepping back, again, my better days in the villages, what was it that should be coming back? That is, indeed, to listen. It's very costly to listen when you're in the top management. You know, you just top down, just do as I say, or shape up or ship up. But it's not as easy as that. It's a huge ship. It's a huge tanker. I mean, if you want to shift it, you just have to do it slowly, or else you'll tip the tanker. So we decided, I'm very blessed with having a fantastic team that shares the same vision, or not, but I was a bit more excitable, so I'm always winning the argument. That helps. So I said, okay, look, this is our first year together, and you know, nobody's going to blame us for losing money. So let's just give time and listen. Let's just go zigzagging across the country and, you know, have your Obama-like town hall meetings. Just let's let them air out grievances. Apparently there was a lot of that. You saw the fear, underappreciated, and using the heritage of the bank as a defense mechanism, and not want to see outsiders. That's how they treated me in the beginning, as an outsider. Giving time and embracing and talking to them, I think things started to melt. And so this is one of the practices of self-knowledge, I suppose, that makes sense, that seems to connect. It's a connection with the people at the end of the day. They come to work, they go home to their families, they have their fears, their worries. So how do I make each person feel they're contributing something, they're relevant for this organization? How do I make them feel at ease with themselves in their working space? So, so we did quite a lot of that. Just talking about, you know, what they see, the vision, etc., etc. Of course, we have our plan. We have our long-term plan, but how to make sure that everybody feels ownership of this plan, and you know, saying that after this running around for the first 6 months, then coming together and putting it down on paper and making it everybody else's, is that oneness, they feel ownership. Then we were met with less resistance. The unions were, you know, were able to sit down and have a respectable conversation. So you see that hurdle that we had to overcome. It was historic. It was from the Suharto era, even before that. So all of that needed to air out in some way or other. When we went around and we said, map who they are, right? If we want to take them, shift gear, which is quite extreme from corporate to SME. So we had to map, and you know, typically you have the 10 to 20% top performers, 10 to 20% the worst performers, and the rest of it will follow. Once, however, they feel they can trust you. So that's exactly what we did, to create that trusting environment by talking. But also, you know, practical things like allowing, putting a PO box for grievances, and all these practical things. Aspects that has nothing to do with banking, apparently. Yeah, not with the technical aspect of banking, that really consumed 60 to 70% of our time in the beginning. It was all about that. So, and then we also had to give assurances that we are adopting now a less masculine approach, that we are adopting a more constructive and not punitive principles within the bank. Pay attention to their needs, and so this is to prepare for what is to come. So this is more than a year's work of creating that trusting environment. And thereafter came the trade-off, of course. Okay, everybody's on board, so you gave them the key performance indicators, all this management stuff, gender issues, get more appropriate allocation of time on maternity leaves, all of these aspects that was completely neglected in the past. And retraining, and now they were open to invite new recruits. Can you imagine? The fiduciary of the management to recruit, in this day and age, we had to ask that everybody's okay with it. We cannot just hire and fire people. We just had to create that trusting environment. So now recruitment is happening, retraining is happening, and of course also, now that all of that is over, now if we can impose more decisive enforcements on wrongdoings. You're still making the same mistakes, you're out of here. They had a whole year to prepare. So yeah, we fired a few people, but with no commotion, which means it's a good thing. So the start of a mindset change, I think. That's one point that I wanted to make. I mean, it had to the point of where we also had to sit down and sit through workshops, so that I didn't have to tell people to take workshops. They see me taking the workshops, so everybody else takes the workshops. So all of these things that you don't learn in a Harvard Business School is opening a bank, as I said, shifting from SME to consumer and retail, but also to introduce the bank to go green. This has been also another passion, having gone through zigzagging across the country, seeing the wonderful natural resources. But unfortunately, post-Suharto era, when the country decentralized, we've seen the fastest destruction of our forest. It's just to unbelievable proportion, because there was too much freedom, decentralized authority. I mean, there's never too much freedom, but we didn't realize that freedom came with responsibility. So, and then, of course, the financial sector was also help finance these destruction, obviously. That's another very heavy task, to change the mindset, to be sustainable, the concept of sustainable, because we've lost that knowledge. That's the reason why I went to the villages to learn about the traditional resource management system, the old indigenous wisdom. We've completely lost all that. We've lost many other things. We didn't understand about private property. We knew about communal property, but that's not defined in any way. How do you certify that in order to be able to put it as a collateral in the bank? So this is a system, it's not reconciled. We're not using our own system that have worked for many, many centuries. But we've had to undergo those structural adjustments.